co-host, Brother Love.
Peace be unto you.
Thank you, Brother Love. Peace be unto you, brother.
Peace be
And
multiplied.
this is no stranger to the community. He been on the show at least 20 times. And we always, you know what?
Thank you,
We
man.
shouldn't call him a guest. He's a regular. Please welcome Frank to Drake, running for U.S.
Deals for
Congress.
Drake. The primary is the election, August 14th, Tuesday. Please vote.
Please vote. And here's our very good friend, Tim. Tim
Thank y'all for
is a
having me.
TV person too, which he directs, produces, and he has his own shows too on YouTube. Please welcome Tim.
Thank you very much for having me.
How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a pleasure being out here with you guys and this great show. This is the best show going in Minneapolis, bar none.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. And we pushing for globally. All right.
I'll get it right next time.
That's okay. No, that's okay. It is the best show in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And we know that this goes around the world to YouTube.
Sure.
And that's why I love YouTube. I always watch YouTube. All right. So, Brother Love, go ahead, honey.
Okay, now today, television audience, we're going to start with Frank. Now, Frank is running for congressman, 5th district, and he needs your vote on August the 14th.
Correct.
Now, one of the things that we are going to be discussing today is the violence in the city. It is just too much violence in the city. And see, the reason that this violence is continuing the way it is because everybody just turned their back. They see something going on. It's instead of hitting that blue button, which we don't have yet, you know, they have a tendency to not want to get involved, and they don't want to be considered a snitch or a tattletale or what have you. Now, people, as long as people have this particular idiosyncrasies, we're going to continue to have a lot of crime. I mean, it's just too much. It's getting to be a baby Chicago. What do you think about that, Tim?
Well, I've been doing some research in Denver the last few weeks, and I think the marijuana laws out there in Colorado helped peacify the city of Denver. I didn't see no shootings and no violence. Doesn't mean they weren't happening, but I didn't see it. And I think one of the reasons our people were a little bit mental, they're a little bit happy, and it's legal. Now let's talk about Minneapolis, our hometown. Minneapolis, it's got violence problems. You're right. You see something, you don't say something, and you don't tell the cops. I mean, I've been watching like cops on TV, and you see people go up saying something to the cops on TV. I'm all like, oh, that's an unsafe move. You may have seen something, but you better not say something. But you're right. You see things going down. You got to do something. You got to help your community. Because if you don't care about your neighborhood, well, who's gonna?
You're right, because everybody seems to be so busy doing their own little thing. And Frank, you add your little 2 cents to the
Sure. You know, it's summer. It's hot. People are frustrated because it's hot. I mean, it's been unseasonably hot. And you know, maybe they need to have more community pools. I think that would be, I think people just need to recreate as families and just enjoy one another and not get angry over the little stuff. I've seen people get angry over like $1. And, it's just silly how people get upset. Like, you told me this and you're 20 minutes late. I mean, people are late all the time, and it's really sad. So I think people just need to relax and
communicate with one another.
Yeah, and
like,
apologize if you have to.
We used to have a place on the north side called Lucille's Kitchen. We used to meet there every Tuesday, and we had so much going on down there. Al McFarland was the facilitator, and then they had me telling the current news and stuff. I would make, like write out a synopsis of what was going on, and plus we all knew what was going on at the different places. Now, if we can say, for instance, like we were discussing multicultural this week, or next week we'll be discussing UDs and how they are crippling the neighborhood. And see, until we can get this UD law passed, which can stop people from being punished 7 to 10 years because their company
Or longer.
Sure is longer.
or they got fired, or they was late, and the man put them on suspension, and stuff of this nature. And so this is one of the things that adds to homelessness, you know, because when you can't find a place to stay, what you gonna do? I know you ain't gonna go to no shelter. You're gonna try to do something, and you got to, especially if you got children. And so this is very important, and I'm glad you're addressing this, Frank, because we need to get this UD law passed.
Well, Brother Love, let me just put it in simple terms. We have $100 million that's going overseas via this welfare and daycare fraud at the Cedar Riverside. That could refurbish probably about 5,000 homes in North Minneapolis and give affordable housing to people in our community. And I'm saying right here to our audience, this money is a fraud. They know it, we know it, and I'm telling our audience, this has been going on for 5 years, $100 million a year, going overseas in suitcases, checked out at the airport. They file a little IRS form. Can you imagine if you went to the airport with a little suit, a walk-on full of money? They'd say, thank you very much, that's ours.
What's the demographics of people over there?
You know, it's just people signing up for daycare.
No, it's not. It's Somalians. I'm going to tell y'all right off the bat. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. It's the Somalians. Listen to this. I had, you know, my own profession, 35 years. I'm tired of it now. So I switched professions, a nurse, so a private duty nurse. And I had a patient that son was a doctor, living over there in the projects. Not those particular ones, but the ones that further down Franklin.
Right.
Now let me tell you something.
That's what most people
Yeah, okay. So now let me tell you something. There's no way in hell could we be living as a professional person in the projects because they say that we don't qualify. And you better not sneak your mother or father, which is a professional, in there because you'll be put out.
Right.
So now, and I know the housing authority knows what's happening over there.
Sure do.
You know. Okay, and I didn't know this until you mentioned the last show. How much again? 100,000?
100 million.
Million.
100
I didn't
million.
know. I didn't know
100,000
that.
a year.
I did not know that.
100 million. It's,
That's a lot
yes.
of money.
Yeah, it's $1
And
million a day.
And
It's
they
going
said
out.
at the airport because they had to open the
Yeah.
stuff up and they get what IRS slip
They
and let them
just fill
go.
out the form and they're on their merry way and they go to Dubai and then they go to Somalia or wherever in the Middle East they go. But it doesn't stay here. It doesn't buy anything local. It doesn't improve our schools. It doesn't put a person to work.
That's all money that was supposed to be spent on poor Minneapolis
Yes,
kids
yes.
and Minneapolis families
Yes.
that went over to Somalia. Now, they come here, I'm happy to help them, but I don't let
Yes.
people in my house and steal from me and tell them they're welcome the next day. So that they were obviously stealing from us, and you know that's got to be, everyone involved's got to go, or at least go to jail.
That's right. And then too, you can't do it, you'll be up in the jail.
Right. I mean, welfare fraud? I think I'd be in prison. I don't know how they figured out. Well, obviously they got 1 or 2 smart people running this, because I think it was 3 separate daycare providers that had multiple sites, and they were getting money. So basically, I'm assuming almost every Somalian kid in Minneapolis was on welfare, whether they were going there or not, and then they had to be kicking the money back to their leaders. And then the leaders had to run the money back, because that's not one person stealing. That's somebody getting a daycare saying, all your kids are going to go here, whether they show up or not. You're all going to get on welfare. We're going to get the checks. Here's a couple bucks for you. Here's a bunch of money for me. And then we kick some of it back, and your family back in Somalia is safe. And if you don't cooperate, your family won't be safe back in Somalia. But I get 50% of the money. You get 25. And
Yes,
your people back in Somalia get 25. I'm happy as could be. I'm floating $100 million. Well, how do you do that? You get every kid and every Somalian kid going to your daycare, whether they show up or not. That's basically, I think, what happened. And those people that were in charge of the community had to be involved. You can't move that kind of money without.
No, you can't.
So
spreading it,
when
so it
is our
spreads around.
society gonna be self-reliant? Brother Love, you're self-reliant, are you not?
I'm most certain.
You live in your own home with Mother Love,
Mhm.
and your son lives with you.
He just.
Yeah, Johnny.
Johnny.
Okay,
Just
but
for
he's in
he
the
get
house.
ready to go to-
Okay,
Right.
but again, at what point is our society gonna say, you guys gotta get it together?
Well, once they start realizing that everybody have their own agenda. Now, like these Somalians, like I'm gonna tell you something. You can't go to Somalia and
Do
run
that.
for no public office.
Or no other country.
Yeah.
But they come here and like I was just looking at all of the
We're low-hanging fruit. They just pick it. We're just like a plum tree. They just gather
Walk in
up
and
the.
take whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen Fuli and some more people that was, I couldn't even pronounce their name, but
Vane is one of them.
it wasn't
Wonderful.
people from the United States.
Mhm.
That's the main point that I'm making. These
We
people-
just want to reset. We want to say, hey, you've had enough time, get it together, because we need this money elsewhere, and it's not going to welfare fraud and daycare fraud any longer.
well, they need to, like you say, lock them up and throw away the key.
Well, you know what? It got to be some big people behind them in order for them
It
to do
is.
it. Okay, now, secondly, it's not only the daycares. There are, well, I worked at a charter school where it was, here was some
Sure.
Africans, okay?
Yeah.
And
That's
then I would
6-8
say
grand a month,
charter schools,
a year.
and then I would tell you
Yeah.
where else. They definitely need the nursing pools. Allow got those nursing pools, I'm telling you, PCA services.
Especially the Africans.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right. So now some of them and do the Medicare fraud. You know, that's right. It's easier to do it from there with those patients. You know, and then probably the other way. All of it is wrong, TV land, but they gonna look at some easy ways, to do their charts and stuff. But anyway, when they get caught, you think they go to jail? You want?
No, they get deported.
That's right. You got it. You will go to jail. They gonna get deported.
And then they'll
That's
be
right.
right back under a different name.
But
Sure
that's why
will.
they'll come back another
Different
name.
social security numbers.
And
Sure
then,
will.
and then I'm gonna tell you something else. Not only that, they already sent their money back home, so they got the money waiting for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the one thing, so we brought in, I don't know how many, tens of thousands. We concentrate them in one particular part of the city, which causes other issues for them because they're not getting out of their culture. If they come here for our culture, they should be spread out and meet different people. But we put them all in one area. We don't voter ID them. And then guess what? They have enough of their people concentrated in one spot that they can get elected to the state legislature. Now they're going to try to get elected to Congress.
Sure
Well, if we
is.
import 50,000 people and put them in one neighborhood, you just gave them that neighborhood. You
That's
gave
right.
them that spot in the government power, and then you don't voter ID them. They can go out 50,000 people who probably most of them shouldn't vote legally. They can go out and vote. And hell, they can go out and vote 2-3 times a day. That's 200. That's 100,000 votes.
Down
You
at City
dominated
Hall,
That's what they probably do,
the
too.
early voting has started.
Has it?
And it's just one stream of constituents coming in.
that. Voting and voting and voting.
Yep.
I mean, I pro voter ID because if you belong here, great. Every American's got an ID of some kind. Well, that ain't no bad thing. But you only vote once.
New Hampshire just passed a law signed by the governor that you have to show that you're a resident on the day of the election or you're not given a ballot. I think that's the simplest and most common sense
Yeah.
solution to voter fraud.
Yeah.
And if you don't think voter fraud's a problem, you haven't seen Chicago. You haven't seen any of our inner cities. Voter fraud is rampant in our inner cities. TV land, don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
That's why this primary is so important. We nip voter fraud in the bud by winning this primary. You need to know that.
August the 14th, remember, that's when you vote.
How you gonna nip in the bud when you win?
You know, when I
said, when
win,
he win. Okay.
and we have our celebration party at Broadway Pizza the next day, all the other candidates are broomed aside. And Minneapolis gets a fresh start.
Yes.
We're not going to have a civil war in our city. We are going to decriminalize marijuana, and we're going to end these foreign wars.
All right.
And that money is also going to come back. We're going to give 6-week vocational training
Okay.
in all the skills: plumbing, heating, electrical, solar, maybe even video technology.
Great.
And with job recruiters on site when you graduate, you can work here or anywhere in America. Because that's what America is. You can work anywhere.
The land of opportunity.
Yeah,
Right.
the jobs are coming back. We just need to have the skills to get that job.
That's right.
And to get yourself out of the negative situation that parts of Minneapolis have had. But there ain't nothing like putting $1,000 or $2 in your week in your pocket to change your attitude.
Yeah, and this could be in a church gym. This could be in a high school gym. It doesn't have to be, something sophisticated.
Yeah, well, you know what? They used to vote in different churches a long time ago when I first came.
They still
up there.
do, yeah.
They still do?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I have.
No, not in the Baptist church in North Minneapolis, they don't.
I don't think they do it in churches anymore, at least not in Minneapolis, because you're right, I used to
They
as a
don't.
kid. And now
But they
it's in
used to.
school or somewhere else, but
Nah, they don't do that no more.
So,
I've been up here in 93, I haven't seen it, but you all seen
Thomas
it.
the Apostle still has the voting booths. That's
But
our-
they're not Baptist church though.
No,
And not North Minneapolis.
Well,
Well,
you-
the Catholics or Lutherans, maybe they do it.
you got
But,
to know where to go vote at. And see, what I suggest, television artists, is you find out where you go to vote at. Now, they should have
D is for Drake.
vote for Drake.
D is for Drake on the 14th.
Yep.
They can get how do
August.
they get a mail-in ballot if they can't make it out to actually vote, if that's too inconvenient?
Tim, you can go to your city hall, downtown, all your cities like Richfield, St. Louis Park, Golden Valley, all of
City
CD5, Fridley, New Hope Crystal, Brooklyn Center. Just go to your city hall, you can vote there, and it's done.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Now,
I got something to say.
okay, see.
And the bases at Fort Snow. Yes.
And did you hear the basis of Fort Snelling, you can vote? Okay, well, Frank said it was unseasonably hot. I was just thinking, you're right, Frank, because you know what I said yesterday? This is so silly, TV land, coming from cold country. I said, I'm sick of this heat. I can't wait till the winter come back. I really said, I was talking
back
to
in
myself
January,
too.
she'll
I
say
said,
the
I can't
exact
wait till
opposite.
the winter come back.
Give
It's
me a
like,
shovel,
no.
I'm ready.
It was just too hot. I can't take all that heat.
Yeah.
I really can't.
It makes
And the
me
humidity,
sick,
too.
It makes me sick and stuff, yeah.
I personally, I like autumn the best. Just
I do too, it's my
fall.
favorite.
But that, and I used to date a
Fall.
girl named Autumn.
Oh, okay.
But autumn's just that, because it's kind of warm during the day, it's cool at night, but
I
you don't
love
get
fall.
those 90 degrees and humid, and everything's still kind of green, going brown.
Beautiful leaves.
Football
beautiful,
season.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the fall, yeah.
Vikings got the most highly paid quarterback. Let's see how that turns out.
300 something $million they paying this joker for. How many years? 2 years? 3 years?
3 years. We'll see what we get in 3 years. By the way, I'm going to the Packer Viking game in Green Bay, so hopefully that's the second game. Hopefully he tears that up, and I'll be tearing up some Packer fans. But on the other hand, it's going to be 60,000 to 1.
Cheeseheads.
Cheesehead.
60,000 to 1.
60,000 Packer fans and me. Me and 2 girls.
Well, that should be interesting.
All right, Frank, you want to say something else, honey?
We've talked about the agenda. I've told you, you are my people. You may not agree with what I wish to accomplish, but I'm here to protect and serve you. And the 5th Congressional District has been served well by Keith Ellison, and I plan to carry that forward for the next 6 years. And the person that you elect in this primary is going to be your congressman for the next 10 years. I only want to serve 6. I want to get us through this current administration, who many of you do not like in any way. I just want to help you. I want to work with him so we get the money, and these other inner cities that want to riot, too bad for them.
Yeah.
It's coming to Minneapolis
Yeah.
and the 5th CD. And St. Paul, if they get smart.
Well, in St. Paul, speaking of St. Paul, I think that mayor that they have there, he's a little paranoid. You know, like every year we've had the 4th of July celebration. And
You're really angry about no fireworks.
Yeah, over there, 'cause that was you know, people was looking to have a
Yeah,
fireworks display at the Capitol
Yes.
of all places.
Yes.
Wait a minute, I missed it. I was out having fun. I don't pay attention to what happens to the fools.
Yeah, he said there was not going to be any bombs in the air this year at the Capitol. They're not going to
For what
celebrate
reason?
it.
Safety, the environment, what?
you know,
Party pooper?
he just
I think it was a money issue.
Something about the money issue, something about helping the homeless. Okay, we're going
Get
to see if they
a
do that.
sponsor.
no,
They what?
Get a sponsor. There's
A
somebody.
yeah, sponsors.
Yeah,
I'm
somebody-
glad to do
somebody-
it.
Listen, every year,
That's
ever since St. Paul was created,
They
right?
asked
built,
the Vikings.
they
The
had
Vikings
fire
were paid.
Yeah.
The
And I think
purple
that's
Vikings. The
What
purple
did
people
happen?
eaters.
They shot stuff off for like 30 minutes. It was a great fireworks show.
So,
in
yeah.
Colorado.
No, I was here for the 4th of July.
You're talking about over here, on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Northeast,
Up
you know
north,
where we
yeah.
always go up there?
Yeah, they shot off stuff for like
30 minutes, half an hour,
Yeah,
40 minutes.
non-stop.
We used to
Yeah.
always do that because MTN used to be over there.
Yeah.
So I used to take my little
They
camera.
got no
and take-
shortage of money.
See,
Yeah.
right. I don't think he just didn't want to do it. Well,
just
you know,
pocketed it.
that was how. That was,
I'm calling out an investigation to see what happened to fireworks money.
yeah. Because don't they get money for it, actually?
They
They
should.
probably
it's in
do.
the city budget.
This is the capital.
It was $250,000, and you know it's a lot of money, but people expect those fireworks.
They expect the fireworks
Yeah.
there.
I know we.
They be looking for it. And then he didn't mention until about a week before the 4th of July came, so the people didn't, you know, could raise much of an issue.
Well, to the people that just pay taxes and stay out of trouble, that's one of the things they do get back for their taxes. They get
Right.
some fireworks and the streets gonna be clean after the blizzard.
Right.
Sorry.
So
Sorry,
buy
for
fireworks.
the people
Some
in St.
fireworks.
Paul, I've been in St. Paul after a blizzard. Your streets aren't clean.
It isn't.
You double lose them.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, the St. Paul can't do snow removal right. You go in there a week after a blizzard, they got one path down the middle and cars still stuck on the side. St. Paul got their
Their
out of whack.
priorities mixed up.
Yeah, I'm sure he's driving a Benzie though.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor, that is.
Yeah, cause he's a little slicker.
All right, Jerome.
Well,
I
he's a little
said,
slicker.
Let's get back to this
All
side of the river. Oh, you've had your piece.
Yes.
Actually, we know him too.
Get the
so
fireworks
all right.
next year, Mayor.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Oh, hang
Melvin. Mayor Melvin.
On this,
Fireworks.
on this side of the river, remember, good book's got some great advice. Do unto others as you have them do unto yourself.
That's
Your first
right.
question, that's the way I should have answered it. You know, I know it's hot, you're tired,
It's hot
whatever's
in here.
not perfect. But guess what? Don't pop a cap in somebody, walk away.
That's right.
You've done dumb things, and
They probably done.
other people have turned their cheek to you, you should turn your cheek to them.
Yeah, cause being locked up, it don't look like it's no fun.
Yeah.
I be looking at it on television, the highway patrol pictures and
How they arrest people in Kansas.
And they separate you from your families too.
Oh, yeah.
Just like they claim they do at the border, only this is American people that are separated from their children because they go to jail. Do you think these people are going to jail on the border?
no, they getting deported.
They're going through the legal system, and maybe 6 months from now,
They can come back.
yeah.
Yeah, I think over 4 million parents are in prison, separated from their kids. On the other hand, what do you want to do, lock the kids up with the parents in Stillwater? I mean, think about it, Daddy did some time.
That's
I
a
gotta
lot of-
go
that's a
to
lot of
That's a
prison.
lot of families.
That's all.
Yeah, that's,
California. And
The 4 million,
Arizona.
why did they go to jail? Because
we
they
have
was
more
selling
people
them?
in
They
jail
came in here
in
illegally
America
with
than
their
in
kids.
China.
Wait a minute, wait, 2 people ain't talking. What?
Okay, so what he was talking about, so when the illegals come in across the southern border, they bring kids with because the kids will help them. So they separate the kids from, but they had a temper tantrum because they quote separated the kids from the parents. Well, if you walk across the border illegally with a 2-year-old in your hand, what do you think you're going to do? We're going to hand you a check and a housing certificate and some health care? No, you go to jail and they separate them. And now the Trump administration's having a problem because they've been ordered to reconnect them. Well, about 50% of them, Trump got slick on their ass. He started doing DNA tests. Just because you say this 2-year-old or 5-year-old girl is your kid, we're going to do a DNA test. Turns out 40% of them don't have the same DNA. And as of last week, they processed 150 adults and kids. 6 of them were sex offenders. 40 out of the 109 were not blood relatives, and out of the ones that were, some of them were sex offenders. One was a rapist, a couple of them were convicted murderers, and they won't give the kids back because you've got sexual. And these, oh, by the way, Mexico and Guatemala do not cooperate with American law enforcement. So if you're a convicted sex offender in another country, the American cops don't know because the databases aren't shared. So the only way we know so-and-so is a sex offender is they had to have crossed the border before get convicted and be in our database, because the Mexicans and the Guatemalans won't tell us who their felons are. But as of the ones that they have reunited, they found a couple of murderers and a few sex offenders, and 40% of the, quote, adults aren't blood relatives to the kids. Basically, it's human trafficking. It's a second form of a slave trade. And the Democrats, some people on the far left think this is a good issue for them. So having an open border where they're bringing in kids, and when you say undocumented, that means they don't have an ID. The kid don't have an ID. I've walked around with a 5-year-old across the border. Who are you? Who's the kid? Okay, you guys can go.
You know what? And that would be a good reason for some people to like that, because then they could be that pedophiles. Okay? Did you hear what I'm telling you now? I said it. All right.
I've been hearing about a lot of pedophiles this last year. I mean, a lot of high offices.
All right, that's
churches.
right. All right, so now the kids can walk through and, you know, don't have the parents, you know, and then one of them people can come up, just take the kid, come over here and just have his way. And this, I didn't know this. I heard it yesterday. Arizona, and I forgot the other place, there was a lot of human trafficking. Did you know that?
Oh,
Arizona?
I lived in Arizona. Yep.
It was?
Oh, yeah.
It is, brother?
Unfortunately, if you live in Arizona, almost every day, you know how in Minneapolis they do so-and-so got shot, they did the drive-by, they do that too, but they do a special report normally on the start of the news for how many bodies are found in the desert.
That's it. We're not going to visit Arizona, love.
Yeah.
I said, watch, we was going to visit our friends. Nope. We would not be going there.
I ain't going
And
to
it's not a wild animal. There are these people called coyotes that torment these people and then leave them for dead and kill them in the desert.
Well, the coyotes are basically slave traders. What happens is, so if you're on the southern side of the border, you give the coyote some money, or you go in debt to the coyote. That coyote will send you on a path. There'll be a van waiting for you on the other. So you walk 100 miles that way. Here's some water. Good luck. Someone will pick you up, take you somewhere to work, and then you owe the coyote. If you didn't pay him up front, then you owe him. So say you owe him $1,000, well, you need to pay him back $2,000. We'll get you a job working like $1 an hour, and you're in debt. And if you're a kid, you're in debt, and if you're a girl, you're in trouble. So when they send these girls north, they give them birth control. They give them the pill, they give them the morning after pill, and they give them condoms because they know 80% of the girls get raped.
Yeah.
And the coyotes is like a slave trader, so if you're a cute girl and he wants something, he takes something because you don't have the power to say no. And there was a semi with 50 people in it, and the truck broke down and the driver took off, and like 50 Latinos, 50 Latinos were found dead in the truck. So that was a coyote that got them to the truck, and then the truck was supposed to take them somewhere north to the job, or the truck got them across the border. And you know, I understand the guy, the truck broke, but he didn't crack the door. So he could have cracked the door and ran, but he just ran, and he left him in Texas heat in August.
We heard that. That was recently, wasn't it?
That was like a year ago.
A year, yeah.
And that happens quite a bit when you, literally, if you live in Phoenix, which I did, the news is, you know, shooting, bodies found in desert. Hey, it's Tuesday, shooting, bodies found in desert. Wednesday, shooting, but you know what it's like watching the news. Yeah, everything coming out of North Minneapolis, plus bodies found in desert every day.
By the way, Mexico, part of NAFTA, 10,000 people are shot to death every year.
Oh.
And you talk about Chicago where it's 800.
Yeah.
And Mexico, they have no guns because it's against the law to own a gun. So maybe we shouldn't be like Mexico, because how would you like to have, and half of the political candidates were assassinated
Oh, no.
in Mexico
This year.
Oh.
this past year, yeah. And they elected a communist, so that's gonna probably be another refugee problem. So, can we at least say socialism is a failed state? You can look at Nicaragua.
Yeah.
You can look at Venezuela. There are no pets anymore. They've eaten them. Argentina, their money is worthless. All these countries, their currency is worthless, and people think socialism is the way to go, and it's a failure. It leaves you. It doesn't allow you to be who you want to be.
Is it socialism, isn't that communism?
Yes, that actually.
Another word for communism.
That's what it is.
It's a tamer word that says you can have your religion when they take it away ultimately,
So,
or your God.
Karl Marx, the founder of communism, the person that first took it over was Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin ran as a socialist when he took over
In Russia.
Once he took over, he made it communist. Why? Because socialism sounded better. You still got to keep something. But once he actually had power, they were straight up communists. But that's not how they started. You know, it's kind of like that first date. They don't tell you the whole truth.
China is communism.
They are communism, they're one party state, but they're smart communists. Their tax rate is lower than ours. So Russia, during the Cold War, had a 100% tax rate of everything over $10 a year. The state took everything. Now, the Chinese are smarter. They have a 20% tax rate. So ours is 21. It used to be 35. But China's at 20. That's why, like, your phones and stuff, that's why they're made in China. Because if you made it in America, you pay 35%. Say you make $100 million, you pay 35 million to the feds, 10% to Minnesota. That's 45 million out of your 100 million. You make it in China, it's 20%. You get to keep 80.
Oh.
Where would you make it?
So the
place where you get to
taxes,
keep
the
35,
taxes,
right?
the taxes
Oh.
were lowered. They just haven't been lowered at the state level for some time. And we should go back to, in fact, some of our states like California, Illinois, they have people fleeing, millionaires fleeing. And you know how we hate when people leave a state and move down to, say, Florida. They cash in on their house and then they move down to Florida. We hate that as Minnesotans. We hate that as Democrats. We want people to want to stay here in Minnesota. And the only way that's going to happen is either to substantially reduce the state income tax and the inheritance tax, or eliminate it altogether. And that's not something I can do. That is something I'm recommending to Minnesotans, because it's the sales tax and user fees make up the majority of our state income. And you want people that are, buying cigarettes or buying liquor, let them fund the government. Driving a car.
Harley Davidson is leaving the country to go to Europe or someplace.
I used to admire Harley Davidson, but they've received, I think it's about 25 bailouts. So good riddance to Harley Davidson. And that's one less, and they're not even going to pay the money they borrowed. So, good riddance.
Yeah, well.
They used to be an American franchise, but
They're also Packer fans.
I don't. Well, there are a lot of good Packer fans in CD5.
What about Vegas? Because in 2004, when we went to Vegas, that lady said, I said, "Oh, this is really nice," sipping my little margarita, and just sitting there, and Laura was really, playing the game, and she said, "But you gotta be careful." She said, "Around 1 o'clock," she said, "These." She called it something else. Will put the money, will put the Mickey in the John's drink, and he'll wind up in the desert
Where his liver go?
where his kidneys cut off, or either Mexico. That scared me so bad. I said, "You hear, love?" He said, "Yeah." And my daughter kept saying, "Mom, don't leave Brother Love's sight. Where's he at?" I said, "Come on, Brother Love." We went on upside her. I said, look, let's go. Lock the door, Brother Love. At 10:30, we was locked up. I said, "We ain't going out tonight."
Yeah.
And I went the next time, but I was scared because I never heard of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they wind up missing, with your
Sure,
kids.
they body
That's
parts
in
cut out.
Vegas.
They do that here. Somebody tried to do that to me once in a bar.
In Illinois? I'm
No,
so used to
he
Chicago.
was in,
I'm so used to Chicago.
it was
You in
Hopkins.
Minneapolis?
Hopkins. So I'm in Hopkins, and chick comes up, starts a conversation with me, which, you know, I'm good looking, I'm kind of used to that. But
Yeah.
she was pretty
Yeah.
aggressive about it.
Yeah.
And there's a dude back here going, fooling around with my Budweiser. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, you got a problem? He's like, no. He takes off. I killed that beer. I blacked out. I mean, we're talking one beer, and I mean, I can drink, but one beer, and I'm seeing tunnel vision in the car. I don't remember driving home, and I'm just like, wow. And had I stuck around that bar for another 5 or 10 minutes, maybe they thought I had money. I don't know what the
Yeah,
heck
they
they were going
ducked you.
for, but so she came up, starts running her mouth, starts talking. I mean, grabbed my hand, hold. I mean, she got my attention, and I turned around, and there's a hand touching my beard. And, you know, I'm a guy. I didn't think.
You didn't
So-
pay no attention. Well, you shouldn't have been drunk if you seen the hand reaching over, you know, to put the
Yeah.
stuff in there. You seen it and then you drunk it anyway.
I see him pull his hand. I see his hand around
Hand
my
back.
beard, but I didn't see him put nothing in. But I saw him like touching the top of my beard real quick, and I stopped him. And then he took off.
It was too late. You already put it in
Yeah,
there.
and then you know, I paid for the beer. I'm cheap, so I drank the beer, and I'm telling you, 5 minutes later, I'm like,
Bill must put peyote into your drink.
no,
Now,
I
you
didn't
know
have no
what?
fun. It was a date rape drug. I know because I looked it up. So what that does is it stops your blood's ability to carry oxygen. It's like you're strangled. So over in Europe, doctors give you that shit the right amount, just like a dentist would. But you just dump it in somebody's drink. You're just dumping it in somebody's drink. I mean, I woke up the next day, it felt like I drank like a bottle of Jack Daniels and a case of beer. I had one beer. I had trouble breathing. I was tired. I was exhausted. My head was pounding. I felt like I had just been through the ringer, and I had one beer and barely made it home, and blacked out on the way home. But that was one Budweiser.
You better be glad they didn't kill you.
Yeah.
They could have had this stuff and then you could, you know, made you follow them and you got out of it and they see, you know.
Well, I drove. That was the.
That was a miracle.
Yeah.
That was the miracle right there. I know you thank God for bringing you home.
Well, you know
Because
what,
usually that don't happen, you know.
Yeah.
And you know what I think?
This is way before Uber. I was
Way before.
done.
And you know what TV Land now, you know, if you ever watch my gospel shows, I go to spiritual warfare. Now listen, now this is what happened. The woman talking to you and whatnot, and then the man working. So you see TV Land's always more than one person. It's two and maybe three. And even though you see the arm, they put some type of spell on you, like you went into a trance, because you drunk it anyway.
Yeah.
Because if I see your hand, you know what? If I'm in my right mind, I'm not going to touch it. Just because you did this close.
Right.
And you talk to me, and you know what I'm saying. But seriously, people can't do that.
They were
Yeah.
They can talk to you
Yeah.
and put you right into a trance.
Well,
and you can't help it.
As a woman, I think you're most suspicious. As a guy, I'm all like, what? I don't
Yeah.
care. You know, I ain't scared of nothing. You know, I'm talking, I'm like mid-20s at this point. You
Yeah.
know, I could see you put something in, I'd be like, kid, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause I was just that stubborn. But we should get back to Frank's candidacy.
Yes, we will. You learned a little information, and we're going back to Frank because we want him to get in. But I'm glad that you hear this because you know what, you are aware. You got to be very careful, TV man.
Yeah,
Got to
good-looking
travel
ladies
with your
and good-looking guys like me, you gotta be careful because everyone's out to get you.
And you got
And the moral of the story, Tim was by himself. He didn't have someone to take
Yeah.
care of
Yeah,
him,
he needs
to say,
somebody
we gotta
else.
get out of here, you're not
Yeah.
looking good.
And you know what? People size you up.
Mm-hmm.
They do. They watch you when you come in them places. Or actually, they watch you.
It's,
period.
it's always
Yeah.
somebody watching you.
And then they say,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
prime target.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, he's right. I
That's
was
our
alone.
mark.
I'd never been in that bar before, and I was alone.
Yep.
They were on me in a second. So, as a member of Congress, how are you going to make America better and the 5th District better?
Yes.
Well, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work with this president. I don't care if you like him, I don't care if you hate him.
Mm-hmm.
We are not gonna be in a revolt, we are not gonna be in a civil war, a modern day civil war, which is going on right now, whether you understand it or not. We are gonna train our chronically unemployed people on the north side, people anywhere who at any age want to learn a vocational skill. In 6 weeks, we will train you to be a plumber, heating contractor, electrical woodworker, painter, solar, and get with on-site job people, facilitators, when you complete your course,
Yes.
so you can get a job immediately. We're going to decriminalize marijuana. You're never going to go to jail again. You're not going to lose your car or your house or 20 grand in legal fees ever again. It's just going to be a simple fine, maybe whatever the fine is, maybe $100 for being stupid. Okay. We're going to end these foolish wars. We've been carrying on since 9/11 for 17 years. It's over. These wars are over. It's just like Vietnam. There was no reason to be there, and they're over.
Well, we've been fighting.
And one last thing,
What is-
our gay men and our lesbian women must be respected. Here, in the Middle East and across the world, I will not give foreign aid to any country that torments the gay lifestyle. And I hope you know who I'm talking to, TV Land.
Who are you talking to? Make things plain.
Blaine is silk.
No, you're talking about now, because you said giving money over to the people overseas.
I'm not, no foreign aid to anyone that torments the gay lifestyle.
Well, you can forget it, because they got that Sharia law over there.
Yeah,
The
and-
Middle
oh, yeah,
East.
no.
Don't they?
You know,
And they trying to bring it over here.
Yeah.
The Sharia law.
They kill them for being gay.
They sure do.
Oh, you
That
want
Middle
to get
East.
even with somebody.
Africa
where
too, don't
you
they?
accuse them of being gay, and then the community will kill them. Like, they don't even need to be gay. You just accuse them. You got someone you don't like, you tell everyone they're gay.
They just kill them right off.
Oh yeah.
And then too, because women just start driving over there. So
Yeah.
you know how they're very strict overseas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
Extremely strict.
you're considered an infidel over there.
Everybody on this program is an infidel.
And I'm just talking basic common sense. Americans understand this. And just because you're a Democrat today doesn't mean you don't understand this. You know this to be inherently true. We must respect our gay men and our lesbian women and globally.
We're the wealthiest country in the world. We have the money and the power to help people around the world, not just, people
I'm the
here in
only
Minneapolis.
candidate in this contest, in the DFL, that's making this statement. Everyone else is running for cover.
Well, let's talk about, as far as foreign wars, let's talk about Syria. A lot of people want America to do something about Syria. Syria was a Russian ally.
That's right.
We helped undermine their government. We started a civil war, got hundreds of thousands of them killed, caused a major catastrophe, humanitarian crisis over there. And now a lot of people want us to push Putin to do something. No, Putin can have Syria. If he can stabilize it, that's great. Or do you want the Gulf War III, where we have to occupy Syria? I assume that you're opposed to the occupation
Syria
of
is
Syria.
all about a pipeline. Once you realize it's always been about putting a pipeline to oil.
Yeah, oil.
Yeah. So just let them build their pipeline and call it a day. We are not involved in Syria.
Should be involved in Syria.
I think Putin mopped up Syria, and God bless him.
Would you accept Assad's remaining as leader?
His father was in power. It's a secular government. They tend to allow other religions to be there. So I think, short of a democratic government, I don't see a better option.
Well, a quick overview on Syria. Prior to us starting their civil war for them, Syria was the safest place for Christians, the safest place for gays in the Middle East outside of Israel. But it was a safe Muslim country. They weren't being killed in the streets. They weren't being prosecuted. Now that we destabilized it and caused a civil war, the crazies come in, killing gays in the street. They brought back the slave trade. Christians are being sold off as slaves. People are being beheaded all over Syria. It's calmed down now that the Russians have come in and helped them. But a lot of people, either on the far right or on the far left, have this thing where we have to stand up to Putin and do something about Syria. The only thing that you either let the Russians handle it, or we come in and do another Iraq 3 and put in occupation, try to take it over. Anybody up for that? But everybody on the right and everyone on the left that says we have to do something. Well, if you get rid of Assad, there's no government. I mean, there's no government in the whole country. So it's just total nutville.
Chaos.
Yeah, and it's just a worst case for everybody. So is Assad a nice guy? he was before we started a war in this country. You know, it's like you start a fight on somebody's block and say you did a horrible thing. I wouldn't do nothing before you started this mess in my yard.
These wars have created a refugee crisis in Europe that I don't know if they will ever recover. It's so out of control, and these people are raping women, and there's no, these people never go to jail. And in England, they don't allow guns, so they stab people. People are being stabbed in public.
They still
Murder
have
rate by
guns over there?
knifings are out of sight.
Yeah, there's a mass stabbings in London.
Get out
And
of
people
here.
are, and the cost of living is so.
Boston Stranglehold when the man who was killing all the
You're thinking of Jack the Ripper.
That was an 1800 law. That was an 1800. But I know they had more than that. They probably had more strangers. Now what happened? They still can't carry the guns. Now the police years ago, Bobbies, couldn't carry guns. They can carry guns now, right?
No, still can't.
Well, why? Do you all know?
Because they don't have, well, here's the thing, it wasn't for British repression, we wouldn't have guns either. But we threw them out and they never got a Second Amendment, so they don't have a right to have a gun.
The greatest killer of human beings in the 20th century is democide. That's your government killing you. The Chinese killed over 100 million of their citizens. The Russians, under the Soviet system, killed 50 million of their own citizens.
Hitler got 20.
Hitler got 25 million. So all these extreme governments, whether there's fascist or socialists, they kill their people. That's why the whole idea of the Second Amendment is to protect the citizens from their government.
That's why there was no Holocaust here. And if there were ones, that happened to the Native Americans who legally we didn't consider citizens, so they couldn't have guns. So that's why there were Native American massacres. But nobody that's armed has ever been, quote, massacred in large numbers by their government.
So just consider that. I know you may be a gun addict, fanatic, and be for abolishing guns. I've talked to many of them in Linden Hills. And you know what? There's a reason why people want the Second Amendment that don't even own guns. They want to know that they can go out and protect themselves.
That's right. And it's not the guns, it's the person that does the crime.
A gun is an
Yeah,
inanimate
you know.
object, no different than this camera that we're looking into. The camera didn't film me jaywalking. The camera is just something that is a tool.
Right.
Yeah, if you're scared of Trump, you wouldn't want to give up your guns, would you?
No. But you know what? Getting back to Trump, they was saying on the radio when I came here that him and Putin,
They're meeting in Helsinki right now.
Yeah.
yeah, they had some type of deal, and they was talking about what do you say? They scared of Putin or something. Trump is scared of Putin.
The reason Trump likes Putin, and probably Putin likes Trump, is because they both are decisive. They can make up their mind. They don't have to go to some committee, and they don't have to put their finger in the air and see which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
They know what they want, and
They know how to go get it.
yeah.
One thing about this whole Russian collusion. Now, unfortunately, Hillary Clinton was a bad candidate.
So,
Hillary Clinton lost to Barack Obama in a fair race. She got nailed. So she had 8 years to prepare. She bought off the DNC and stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders.
61% of Minnesotans would have gone for Bernie Sanders. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. So she rigged the election at the primary, and then she so mismanaged her theft that she got caught at the Democratic convention stealing the nomination. A gentleman named Seth Ridge, who was the IT guy for the Democratic Party and a Sanders supporter, was so
Later
sick of,
killed.
Later killed on the way home from the bar in D.C. By the way, I've been to that bar. It's a nice bar, but he left that bar. He walked home. Somebody popped him in the back of the head, and the police said it was a robbery. But he had his cash, his phone, and his cards on him. But it was a robbery. So, anyways, I don't know who killed him, but he's dead. He backed up all the data that proved Hillary jacked Bernie Sanders for the nomination. Sent it to WikiLeaks. As WikiLeaks was verifying the data, he got shot. Now, WikiLeaks put a $20,000 reward up for any information leading to the arrest of the guy that shot Seth Ridge.
Now 125,000.
Now, the media use that as a sign of Russian collusion.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
Seth Ridge is a white boy from Missouri. He's no Russian. He was a gay white guy from Missouri. Who
Jewish,
really likes,
gay Jewish white
yeah,
guy.
from Missouri, who liked Sanders. He saw what happened to Sanders and said, back this up, send it to WikiLeaks just to expose her because he was so sick. So nobody in the media says anything about Seth Ridge. You guys have never heard his name, because if you knew about Seth Ridge, you'd be go, well, Seth Ridge ain't no Russian name. What are you talking about? But he's the guy that stole the information that got her busted. Now, a smart person who gets caught in that, if it would have been me, if I'd have been Hillary, I'd have said, yeah, sorry, Bernie, you want to be on the ticket? You're my VP guy.
Right.
It's going to be the two of us. Sanders
Right.
and Clinton, Sanders wins. Clinton and Sanders picks up 2% in Michigan. Clinton Sanders picks up 2% in Florida. Clinton Sanders picks up 2% in Wisconsin. Clinton Sanders are president and vice president.
Right.
Hillary did not do that. But now, here's the point, it took a long time to get back to this. We are pushing ourselves into a war with Russia. Russia has 7,000 nuclear weapons.
Did I tell you earlier?
Yeah, we won the Cold War. Why are we trying to restart it? Why are we risking ending all life on Earth because Hillary Clinton ran a bad campaign? I mean, Trump's president. Guess what? We'll run a better candidate in 2020, but let's not end all human life on Earth because Hillary Clinton lost. And the fact that we're in this position, I think she's behind most of this. And it shows you how negative her character is. To be like, I lost. You know what, let's blame the Russians. This could start World War III and restart the Cold War, but I don't care, I'm that mad. And if everybody on Earth dies, I don't care.
The Mueller investigation has been going on for almost 19 months, and they don't have any information. They've gone back, I think, 15 years on Paul Manafort, saying that he laundered money. But that's all they have. But they have the Strzok and Page texting, going back and forth. We got to stop this guy. He can't go in office. This can't happen. So we don't relitigate elections. Elections are won fair and square. So when I win, I'm going to be your next congressman. If I lose, I go back to being a private citizen. You know, it's the end of the story.
One other thing on Strzok that I find offensive and why I don't think he should have a job, separate from the fact he lets Hillary go and then helps frame Trump. He's her boss. He's the deputy director of the FBI. He's having sex with a subordinate. And the only reason we know what everything they did is because they were texting on government phones. This is how dumb they are.
Yeah.
So he's the boss. He's having sex with her. They're talking about their sex life. They're talking about how they hate Trump, blah, blah, blah. All on government. They got a private phone here. They're doing it on the public phone, or the FBI phone. Probably because they're both married. You know what? That's why they did it. You know what, honey? You can't see that phone. That's the FBI phone. Baby, you can't see that. You can't see that phone. So they can say whatever they want on the government phones.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's up there in front of Congress and like, yeah, I'm having sex with a subordinate. So what? Here's all these texts. Well, I would get fired. How can the deputy director of the FBI use that power to get laid at work?
Well,
it's really
Clinton, he had the girl up under the desk giving him a blowjob, and he talking about, I did not touch that woman. I did not.
Never, not the one time. Which one? Miss Lewinsky. By the way, she wasn't very good at it. It took 8 times for me to get her a job at the Pentagon.
So, Brother Love, Pat, Mother Love, Tim, the bigger the crime, the easier it is to sweep it under the carpet.
That's right.
That's why these wars have gone on for so long. That's why the deficit is $20 trillion, $21 trillion. The bigger it is, the easier it is to fake you out. You know, if you were to steal $100 from somebody, you know, they'd catch you right away.
And as Democrats, I don't think we can sit back and allow people at the FBI to use their power to pressure other people to have sex with them. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. That is a sexually hostile work environment.
Yes.
And if you can get away with it at the FBI, I mean, Lisa Page is walking around with a gun, and she's still being pressured to put out. And her boss gets away with it, and nobody says anything. He's still there. He's still making probably $150,000 a year, and we all know he's dating the staff. How can you tell a guy making $50,000 a year, he can't tell you look good today, but this guy at the head of the FBI can date FBI employees?
Yeah.
So one last thing before we get into closing our discussion. This woman was going to testify about the Clinton Global Initiative, and her house blew up.
Whoa.
She was going to testify. Yeah, she's part of the Clinton body count. It was increased again. The husband and the wife, gas leak in the middle of summer, just blew the house to bits.
I did not have anything to do with.
You sound just like him
explosion.
too. You sound just.
So I mean, this is the type of criminal mind the deep state is. They will take you out.
Yes, they will. And it's
And,
been-
and
it's
we
been
as
documented.
citizens, it's our one chance as voters to vote good people, honest people, people you can
Different people.
trust, yeah, that go away from the direction the deep state is going.
So Frank, you promised to only stick around for 3 terms. Nobody who's ever ran for the 5th district has ever made that promise. I mean, our last 2 congressmen, you had Sabo there from 72 to, what was it?
90 something.
No, it was later than that. Keith only got in, what, 6-8 years ago?
Yes.
He was there
7 years.
six terms.
Yeah, he
He's
was.
been there for 12 years?
Yep.
Still, Sabo made it from like
For
70s
two-
to.
to
We want to
2007.
thank Keith for his service to our community because he did a good job.
Yes.
But
he
now,
did.
now it's on for new leadership, and I appreciate what he's done for us.
Yes, we do. All right, so keep it on for 2007. So Sable was a long time. He just
Yeah.
kept winning every year.
Sabo was especially in power. He was the leader of the Minneapolis House of Representatives. He's a top Democrat from like the 50s on. And then
See, yeah.
73, he popped in. And he was a funny looking guy. He kind of looked like a skeleton. I'd see him at events. He'd just be sitting in the back, chain smoking, come out, say 2 words, go back.
And Don Frazier was before him.
Yeah.
But TV Land, the Great Society happened during this time. And I think that's broken up homes, that's depreciated your value in many of our neighborhoods. And we are going to turn this around so that you have real wealth. You will have more than $500 to your name. You will have a working car. And if you don't want a car, you want to take a bike or a bus, God bless you.
Well, let's talk about
Motorcycle, yeah.
Let's talk about
Now
the
you're
welfare
talking.
reform.
Yeah, let's talk
program.
about that one. Yeah.
So, I believe under your reform that you are going to turn it to individual income, not household income. So, a
Right.
woman with a child can have a working man in the house without losing her benefits.
We want to increase
Called
it
the
to
baby dad,
$70,000.
and separate it from household income.
And we're only going to allow one income to be charged to that household. So we can keep families together. We want extended families. We want mothers, brothers, anyone that's part of that family to be part of that family.
Yes.
Even parents and grandparents can live under one household. Some of these majestic 2- and 3-story homes on North Minneapolis, we need to save them. And having
Remodel.
having people, allowing them to make up to $70,000 before they lose their benefits, they can do things to these homes. And maybe we have urban grants where they can put in new windows or a new furnace.
Yes.
In addition, under the current law, I believe you can't own a home and get benefits, but under your reform, somebody could own property and still get assistance.
Yes.
The goal is to get people to work and help them up, not keep them down. Like, well, if you
Yeah.
get up, I'm gonna cut you off.
Ownership is what we need, especially for our low-income people. If you can own a home, you will be better off. You will leave a legacy to your heirs.
Whether you're watching this, you know somebody or you may be somebody who's got in the system, you passed on raises, because if you took that extra $1,000, you lose thousands of dollars. You lose your medical, your food stamps, your housing assistance. You got kids, you can't do that. You can't take the job, can't take the raise. That happens to people every day in this country. You may know a guy, may have a job, you want to live together, but if you get the same address, your benefits are gone. You can't risk that. You got your kids are sick. You got ear infection. Your baby's going to need tubes. You can't move in with him. What if it don't work out? I'm going to lose my benefits. I can't afford medical care for a kid without government
We
assistance.
just want to be
So you stay single.
practical. We just want practical solutions. It doesn't cost the government that much money to keep people together.
And you know what? Some people ain't even married when they get older. Cause they scared, well,
Because I was told that, that shouldn't get married because of the fact that you're gonna lose your benefits.
Yeah.
What sense do that make?
And it breaks down millions of families all over America. You look at the family rate, their father is not in the house, and this ain't the whole reason, but part of the reason is Medicare, welfare. So welfare should not rip families apart.
We just want to say, whether you're married or have a partner, we love you. Don't we, Mother Love?
yes, we do. We love all of you all. Now, we got 2 minutes. Would you say your final, please?
Thank you very much. I'm Frank Drake. I asked for your vote on Tuesday, August 14th in the primary. The primary is our election. Whoever wins this primary will be your next congressman. I promise you, I will be who you need me to be, and I will be fair across the board to all our citizens.
My name is Tim Anderson. I'm endorsing Frank Drake. One of the reasons is his welfare reform program will put families back together, allow single mothers to live with the baby daddy or any person that they want, and it'll allow them to own homes, allow them to have a family, a full family, and make more money without having to be poor in order to keep health care for their kids and a roof over their kids' heads, which is what's going on today. So Frank's welfare reform will help everybody in the community. Every single mother will put families back together and help put working people back into homes as a good example. Whether it's the baby daddy, whether it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, don't care about your sexual identity. We care about somebody being there to help financially, help with the kids, and just help them that way.
Family.
Contact.
Oh, Frank Drake for Congress, or just www.frankdrake.com.
Love.
Okay, television audience, we have enjoyed being here with you this afternoon, and we want you to go out August 14th and vote, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to change things, is each individual should vote.
Okay, thank you. And
Your vote is important, and D is for Drake in the
D is
DFL.
for Drake.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, because this is the best show going in Minneapolis
Yes, put
today.
like describe difference makers. I'm sorry, moving forward with the difference makers. Move forward with the difference maker. Call me 763-703-0546. 763-703-0546. Patrice Maria Love, husband, brother Love. God bless you. And Twin Cities, if you want to be in the UD, we're going to start new classes. Give us a call. And God bless you. And power to the people.
Power to the
Hotels.
people. Love, love, love.